Hello again, Curious Wanderers. Welcome to my new video. This time around, I decided to try something new. As you can see, I am blowing bubbles. Yep, that's what I decided to do this time around. So basically, I just took some watercolor and diluted it into some water, you know, as you do. And then I mixed in some dish soap and attempted to make like a bubbly background. This is completely experimental. I just like trying new random things. So this is my first attempt. You'll notice that the end result, the final piece is not this one because I ended up redoing the background, and you'll see later why. But yes, it is still similar colors. Through trial and error, because in case anyone wants to try this out, the first thing I tried was to blow a whole bunch of bubbles, and then scoop them onto the paper, but that's very difficult to do. You could put your paper over the bubbles, but what happens is when you have a lot of watercolor, or even just a little watercolor on your paper, you kind of need your paper to be taped down. You guys will notice I use masking tape, like the white masking tape is a little less harsh on your paper itself, to tape down my images, to try to keep the paper as flat as possible, because when you wet paper, it tends to want to curl up and bubble. Even if this is definitely watercolor paper, I use a Canson watercolor paper, so it's still, you know, there's still a limitation there. So I didn't want to untape it. What I found works best, quite frankly, is to just use a straw to blow bubbles directly onto it. And that's what you see me doing here. I love that it's impossible to control. It really gives a random effect. Over experimentation as well. I've noticed that if you pop the bubbles yourself with your fingers, it creates these lovely perfect little circles. If you wait till it pops itself, it kind of just pools together in a liquid. So yeah, I find that because clearly we're doing this because we want to see the bubbles, I find it works better if you just pop them yourselves. I often use a paper towel just to pick up any excess liquid that's not really helpful to the image itself. And yeah, just blow a bunch of bubbles. I also what I liked about this one, the first original one, was that I find there was a lot of depth because I added blue to the green color that I started with. So it kind of started out lighter, and then I added some blue to it. And then here I'm adding a bit of a corally pink to add some pops of color, make it more interesting. And I also do that with a bit of a purple. That way I find it's still kind of like oceany themed colors, while you still keep that underwater greenness that I was going for. Now, a lot of the video is bubbles because it requires a lot of layers, I find, because it's so thin, because it's just watered down like watercolor. Like it takes a while to like build up that like colorfulness that I really enjoy in watercolors. I just like in general. I just really like bright, like vibrant colors. Like I don't know. I don't really work in grayscale, if you know what I mean. So here I'm removing the mask, which I don't know about you guys. I don't know if any of you do this process, but this is my favorite part. I always enjoy. There, I'm playing with the latex. I really enjoy peeling off the mask. It's my favorite part. So here I'm using, this is the masking fluid again, And I'm using it to make these little dots because I want the suction cups to be the white of the paper. But any moment now we're going to see a little disaster occur where as I'm doing this, I have a big spill. There it is. My immediate panic is not, oh no, my painting. It's, oh no, my masking fluid. Because masking fluid's expensive. So I spilled it. I was like, oh no. And I like immediately try to pour it back into the bottle, which I do. But the painting itself, it was all ruined because as much as it's made to go into paper, it's not really made to go on top of the paint. So it just kind of seeped into the paper, oversaturated the paper, and then when I tried to peel it off, it just ripped the paper. Like, it was just peeling off layers of paper. There was no saving it. So I didn't want to make you guys watch another huge segment of bubbles. So off camera, I redid my work up until the point of painting the octopus, and yeah, so that's where we are now. So that's why the painting is not the same as when I started, but similar. We'll say similar. Yeah. So see, there, I swatched. Are you guys proud of me? Yeah. So I used the mask to create the little suction cups by putting little drops, carefully, you know, without spilling, on the octopus, so that I can freely paint him, and then at the end I'll be able to take off the little bits of latex and have a cool effect. No matter what I do, the paper always seems to bubble at least a little bit. So like here, you can see like on his forehead, no matter what I do, it keeps making a little pool of orange there, which I don't really mind that it does this. I usually work around it, and I just either add or remove, like move it around. Like there, you see I'm like just redistributing it constantly, but it always seems to want to pool there a little bit. That's what I noticed. And here I am again with the watercolor pencils. Really really just basic materials here. You don't really need anything fancy to get results. Like, it doesn't need to cost you $1,000 bajillion. Or at least, anyway, it's my opinion. And yeah, so I just add a few layers and work with the pencils and to add that texture, because I really like how spotted looking octopi are, and I wanted to kind of recreate that. So I use the pencil, and then what I do is I dip it in water. There, I'm dipping it in the water, and that keeps pooling at the top there, because I'm like, I might as well use it. But yeah, I just keep dipping it in water to kind of, I noticed that they work better if they're wet, because it, I don't know, activates it or something. I did not know that at the beginning, as I was trying to use them as you would a coloring pencil, and I was like, oh, these pencils have no pigment, and then I realized it's just because you need to add a little water to get results. But yeah, so I thought this turned out pretty good. Let me know what you guys think below. I think it has a bit of a pop arty feel. Like, I like the stringiness. Like, I would use the straw to blow the excess water to kind of create that, like, oh, perhaps he's hiding amongst like some underwater plants and such. I don't know, I really like the feel of this. I'm one of my favorites right now of my works, but I guess I always feel like that about my most recent works. So thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.